We change the world and history right here where we're from. It's new beginning to you and me, cause we're not done. In our city, in our city, in our city, we're not done. I appreciate that.
Okay, we'll be all right. Okay, it's time for our daily break. Good morning to you. Well, it sounds like we're gonna have a great conversation this morning about lots of things. Yesterday was a sorry a soiled sorry day, and considering this is the 11th of September, which is 911, it's a sober day in America today. But we will get into all of that stuff as soon as we do our daily break. And Lord knows we need it today. Anyway, good morning to you. Hope this day finds you well. I hope this day that yesterday's events did not dishearten you, did not impede your faith or anything like that. Mother said that there would be days, and if it hadn't been one for you yet, it'll be. Good morning to you. Our daily bread's next right now, so you guys hang loose, and we'll be right back after these messages. As soon as I can find my little thing here. Oh, that's what happened to it. What happened to my stuff? It went someplace. Okay, there we go. At least it's supposed to be on there anyway. Okay, I don't know where it went, but we're gonna worry about it. All right then. We'll be right back after this.
seek reconciliation with others shows God's heart to them.
Our Daily Bread.
Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional was written by Po Fong Chia. Thom Dashu sensed something was missing in his life, so he started going to church, the same church his daughter attended, but they never went together. In earlier days, he had offended her, which drove a wedge between them. So Thom would slip in when the singing started and leave promptly after the service ended. Church members shared the gospel story with him, but Thom always politely rejected their invitation to put his faith in Jesus. Still, he kept coming to church. One day Thom fell gravely ill. His daughter plucked up the courage and wrote him a letter. She shared how Christ had changed her life, and she sought reconciliation with her dad. That night, Thom put his faith in Jesus, and the family was reconciled. A few days later, Thom died and entered into the presence of Jesus, at peace with God and his loved ones. The Apostle Paul wrote that we are to try to persuade others about the truth of God's love and forgiveness. He said that it is Christ's love that compels us to carry out his work of reconciliation. Our willingness to forgive may help others realize that God desires to reconcile us to himself. Would you lean on God's strength to show them his love today?
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 11 through 21. Since, then, we know what it is to fear the Lord, we try to persuade others. What we are is plain to God, and I hope it is also plain to your conscience. We are not trying to commend ourselves to you again, but are giving you an opportunity to take pride in us, so that you can answer those who take pride in what is seen rather than in what is in the heart. If we are out of our mind, as some say, it is for God. If we are in our right mind, it is for you. For Christ's love compels us, because we are convinced that one died for all, and therefore all died. And he died for all, that those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them and was raised again. So from now on, we regard no one from a worldly point of view. Though we once regarded Christ in this way, we do so no longer. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. All this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ, and gave us the ministry of reconciliation, that God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them. And he has committed to us the message of reconciliation. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. That's today's scripture reading from 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 11 through 21.
Let's pray. Lord, I pray that you'd help us to desire peace with other people, that we would admit when we've made a mistake, and that we would be quick to forgive when others admit their fault to us. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries. Our willingness to seek reconciliation with others shows God's heart to them.
Our Daily Bread.
Today's encouragement from the
Okay, then. Now, it's Saturday. I mean, that but we won't do that. We'll just play our salute to the armed forces this morning, and we'll get right on to the business. But we have to salute to our armed forces, because if we don't do that, then we will quickly forget that the reason why we can argue with one another and disagree with one another let me turn this thing around. The reason why we can argue and disagree with one another is because, well, we had somebody that made a statement yesterday that somebody didn't quite understand, and I will clear that up this morning. But there's not a right. Good morning, Airborne. There is not a right that we don't have in this country that somebody did not give their life for. There's not a right in that Constitution that somebody did not give their life for, and I really believe that Mr. Kirk gave his life for what he believed. I really believe that. And normally, I'm not for civilians getting getting flagged at half mast, but I got to tell you, I think this guy deserves it. I think he was a soldier all of his own. He went out there knowing that there were cuckoo heads out there, knowing that there were people who thought that if you disagree with them, that you were somehow an evil from down under. And all the guy did was debate you. And if you didn't have what it takes to debate the guy, then you need to stay home. You just you need to stay home. But what happened yesterday in this country, just like the thing that happened on 9/11, some 20-something years ago, to me, it is just as bad as what happened that day as what happened yesterday in this country. But we'll get to that and all the other things later on. But right now, let us honor the people who don't fight each other, who don't kill each other, who don't molest one another or anything like that, not that I know of, who stand guard so we can act like fools in America. It's a shame. It's a disgrace, but it is what it is, some of the things we do. But remember this, it is a great day, an outstanding day to be alive. We'll be back.
Over hill, over dale, we will hit the dusty trail, and those kingstongs go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, cows are marching all about, and those kingstongs go rolling along. For it's high, high here in the field artillery. Count out your numbers, now it's 1, 2, 3.
that already. We did that. We got that. All righty. We got that one. That's good. That's good. Okay, let me put a number up here because I feel that people are going to want to conversate today. And all I ask is that you make your comments, not too long, but we're not going to shut you off in a minute either. But just make them reasonable because there are a lot of people who want to agree and there are a lot of people who want to disagree, which is the way things are to be done in this country, at the ballot box, not with a bullet. And yesterday we saw all the things that bad could happen yesterday with this young man and Charlie Kirk and it's again I think this and I'm with the president on matter of fact I don't normally I want civilians honored in that way, but I can't tell you I don't know. It's been a while. Martin Luther King died for his convictions, for what he felt, and a lot of people have. But this guy, this guy right here, really, hold it. Let me take this right quick, guys, and somebody's calling me on my cell phone for some reason. Hold it. Just hold on. Okay, we got that. All right, good. Anyway, so good morning to you. I hope this day finds you well. Let me see. Let's put the number on here. I think it's working. I hope it's working. Anyway, if not, you can always write it in the comments, and I'll express your comment. I'll give everybody's comment due consideration. If you make one that makes sense, and I don't. My standard is not that high. Just make it understandable, and you'll get. Your comments will be published, but just make it understandable. Okay, I mean, not crazy and things of that nature. So, yesterday, of course, we as of yesterday, Charlie Kirk, the founder and the conservative youth organization, and the guy was only 31 years old. And what amazes me, old people, 31 years old, and old people, 50, 60, 70, some older than that. Rather than listen to what the guy said, and everybody always goes back to this, and this is the part about this argument that absolutely perturbs me. Everybody goes back in the past how certain people used to be. We understand that. We know what happened in the past in America. We know that. This guy was just born 31 years ago. Okay, he has a right to his own beliefs, and most of the time, you listen to that man, that young man, he was right, and he was right as day is long. He was right, and I've listened to him a couple of times. I said, well, that makes sense. Okay, now being right don't mean that people have to agree with you. In most cases, people don't like people that are right. Okay, they don't. They like people who they can manipulate. Okay, and give manure to. They don't like people that are right. They like people they can manipulate. But you wasn't going to manipulate Charlie Kirk. Okay, you wasn't going to do that. Bring your best game, and you're good to go. If you win, you win. But it was hard. I think he was one of the greatest debaters of our time, at least on these particular issues of politics. Now, do I agree with everything he said? No, but do I agree with a lot of things he said? Absolutely. But again, the way disagreement ended yesterday, it's a shame and disgrace to the young men and women who have given their lives on foreign ground, on foreign land. It's an insult to the people who got killed 9/11, who were sacrificed for somebody else who didn't like us. Okay? Who didn't like us. And so I'm just telling you, we got a problem in America, and that problem is the left. Okay, that it really is. I mean, they don't want to beat you with knowledge or a great argument. They want to shoot you dead. They want to shoot you dead because you don't agree with them. I have been threatened on the radio for the last 30 something years. I just been everybody, if they don't like, rather than bring logic and reason to the table, they bring emotionalism. And emotionalism, most of the time, gets you in trouble. Doesn't prove anything. Most times, you'll probably end up in jail anyway. But emotionalism is the last sanctuary of a coward. Okay, it is the last sanctuary of a coward. You know, we got sanctuary cities. Well, now we got sanctuary idiots. Okay, it is the refuge of a coward. Okay, yeah, I know. And listen, I got you. You never heard them till yesterday. I feel you. No, but because you're a Democrat, I ain't mad at you. I don't. Yeah, and but I'm sure you wouldn't want to. I'm sure if you had heard of them, you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want them shot. Okay. Morning, Tony. You wouldn't want them. You wouldn't want them shot. Morning, Bud. Good morning, Jay. How you doing? Good morning, Mickey. Ranger. Hoorah. But anyway, so now as soon as I find this, now I forgot I didn't put my. See, yesterday I'm trying to answer the phone, but I didn't set the phone up to be answered. So now I'm gonna do that today. Share the screen right here. Let me see. Okay. There we go, right there. Okay, there we go. So now we got that. Now we got that going. So, there's Gary. Liberals can't win on. They cannot. They cannot win on their ideas because their ideas don't pass the muster of logic and reason. Okay, I'm really. And the minute you tell me that you really believe that a man could turn himself to a woman, I'm done. The conversation's over. Conversation's over. I mean, you just I mean, it's over. the minute the minute you tell me that a man can have a baby, yeah, the conversation's over. Yeah, we don't even need to talk anymore. I mean, we really don't. Yeah, a lot of people, and again, if you weren't politically active all the time, you wouldn't know them. No, they don't. They don't know who the shooter was. There was a guy, and I think it was one of those bait and switch things. There was a guy who said in the crowd, he said, "I'll do it again." Well, that brought all the attention on him, and it did. And the guy who actually did the shooting ran away. But with all the cameras that we have, I'm hoping that somewhere in that camera, somewhere in that somebody got a picture, somebody got something or some idea. Yeah, but the guy they held, and I think he's still in jail for temporary for impeding an investigation or whatever it is, interfering with an investigation. Yeah, so he stood up, and I'm thinking he was working with the guy. He stood up and said, "I'll do it again." And then, boy, everybody got, everybody. I mean, which reasonably, that's what I would think too. He would be he would be a suspect in that situation. Mm. So but he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy, and we don't know anything about the shooter because we don't know who it is. But I can tell you one thing. Uh, you didn't know him as a politician, Mike? Well, no, he wasn't. He started a youth organization years ago with teenagers and stuff like that to get them to come out and vote, become more active, and in the conservative ideology. And here's my thing. And I want a Democrat to. I would love somebody to. Oh, today is Are You Okay Suicide Awareness Campaign. Okay, well, right on. Yeah. Um, here's my question to ask people, and I asked 3 questions last night. Um, I why the name? Because some people deserve to be called names. Okay, they just do. The mentality of certain people, it just. Again, I can disagree with you, and but again, it's some of the things. Here's my question I ask you: What is it about conservatism that if you are a liberal, What is it about conservatism that you do not like? Okay, I really would like to know. What is it that you do not like? Somebody tell me what is it? Because I'm willing to have that conversation. I mean, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but if I had to be one, it would be if those were the only two choices. Right now we got other choices. We got independent, we got libertarian, which I'm more of a libertarian. I'm a conservative libertarian, sort of, or I'm a moderate because all conservative views I do not like, but I will listen to the point. And what I never do get out of liberals, I don't get out of liberals, and those are the people who are opposite of conservatives. Um, what their problem is, I do not understand. Um, I do not understand what is it about it don't what is it about you don't like? Don't you want to be independent? Do you want to be dependent upon the government for everything that you get? uh what is it that you don't like, that they value the sanctity of life, which is, and if they didn't value, if people didn't value the sanctity of life, we wouldn't be here. Do you believe that if you ought to be able to do abortions at will? You should get rid of life at a drop of a hat, because that's their biggest thing. And I want you to know something. Every time you run for political office as a Democrat or Lib, the first thing they want to know: do you want to kill your baby? Okay, that's the first thing they want to know. Do you want to kill your baby? Okay, and let me tell you something. And it can come across as mean, right? But there's nobody meaner than a liberal. Nobody meaner than a liberal. When you don't agree with them, I can just walk away. Okay, well, you agree. I mean, I've been out of FBI. Oh, they found the gun. Okay. The I have been asked to leave on holidays. Other people because I voted for Trump and stuff like that. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. This is Alan. I
Hey,
just
Alan.
heard you ask the question for liberals,
Right,
what we dislike about conservatism, right?
right.
But I didn't give one of the answers. But first, I'd have to ask you, how do you define conservatism?
Define
Conservative
conservatism.
conservatism.
You said you want me to define my. I mean, you want me to define what I think conservatism is?
Yes, yes.
I think it is extracting the best out of America in policy and in humanitarianism. The best out of it that takes us to a higher plane, that takes us to a
And
better place. Not perpetual in perpetuity sympathy, because sympathy is good temporarily. So I think it's the best. Everybody needs an education, right? You agree with that, right? Everybody needs an education.
yes, of course, absolutely,
Okay.
definitely.
Biology doesn't change because you say it does. You do
Yes,
believe in males are males.
let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Mhm.
I agree with you. Biology does not change because you say it does. So we were talking about transgender issues.
Yeah.
Do you realize that gender and sex are not the same thing? Sex is biology. Gender is a social construct. Male and female sex, men and women, is social construct.
Well, and I hear what you're saying, but if you go back to the other dictionary before the political correctness dictionary and the internet came about, you will find that gender and sex were the one of the and two of the same. We think because it's a different year and a different millennium that we can read just arbitrarily change the meaning of things that have stood the test of time for decades and hundreds of years. So if you're looking at
Yes,
old
because language always evolves.
well,
Language always evolves. That's never going to stop.
but the substance of that
And
language don't involve a male is still a male, and a woman is still a woman, a female is still a female. No matter what you think it is what it is. It's scientific, it's biological. So
biologically, of course,
yeah,
but that's not what they're not claiming to change their biology. They're claiming to change the gender presentation. Again, the social construct, what they present as. They're not saying they're physically different outside of maybe surgical changes, but that's just one point. It's about what these words mean. I think too often we're arguing past each other using the same words with different things in mind.
So who gets to
Because
change? Who gets to change the meaning of the words?
the people who use it, when the common usage of a word means X to people in their mind, that's what the word means. That's simply how language works. Ask any linguist. The people who use the language change what it means. If you look at a word like cool, what does that mean to you? The word cool. It can mean low temperature, or it can mean something's good. That's cool. Those two meanings have nothing in common, but people started using it that way. 50 years ago, someone saying cool wouldn't have meant good, but now we all accept it that way. Language evolves. No one can stop it.
Well, I looked in some of the older dictionaries from the 1950s. Homosexuality was considered, and transgender was considered a mental disease,
Mental disorder,
which I still think it is. Again, it depending on what party you're going to that day, I get you. But that's a problem with language. We all have to understand the meanings of a language, because if we get to change if we get to change the language because of political considerations, then we are headed to the abyss of stupidity.
Do you think that you could go back to 1900 Britain and understand nearly a word that they said? Language always changes. You're never going to be able to freeze language. That's never been the way it worked, and it's never going to be the way it works. But Charlie Kirk. Let's go to Charlie Kirk, the fellow who was unfortunately murdered yesterday.
Right.
How do you feel about the fact that if he walked into a plane based on his own words and saw your son as the pilot, his thought would be, "Oh boy, I hope he's qualified."
Okay,
but you support him.
Run that by me again, because I didn't hear what.
Okay. He said that if he goes into a plane and the pilot is black, his thought is, "Oh boy, I hope he's qualified." That was his words.
Again, when the former president was in the office, he actually put out an edict where you can let mentally ill people work in the FAA. Mentally ill people to work in the FAA, the organization that's responsible for those planes staying in the air and being regulated. Trust me,
and if you
understood
so if you see a black person, you assume they must be one of the mentally ill ones. But if you see a white person, you assume they're one of the good ones.
Well,
even with what you said, it doesn't change the fact.
Yeah, I wouldn't use color, but I gotta tell you,
but he did. But Charlie did. Charlie did.
Right, but herein lies the problem. We have actually, and again, I don't like it, and that's one of the reasons why when DEI came out. I worked for Cumulus, and I had Mrs. whatever her name was the CEO of DEI and of Cumulus Media, and I told her to her face. I said, "Listen, I'm getting tired of being told I'm black, and that I need this and I need that." Now I thought I was going to get fired that day, but it didn't. You cannot argue that there are places where we let people in because of their color. We have. There's no ambiguity about that. There's no.
But there's still, because yes, but the question is why and what are the regulations? The reason for why is because for a long time they were kept out because of their color, and as long as they're still qualified, if you get bonus points because of your color, that's just making up for the fact that you got negative points because of your color previously. It's rectifying wrong. And hold on. And it does not mean that the people allowed in were not qualified. They still had to be qualified.
I agree.
They just got bonus points because of their color.
But should you get bonus points because of your color?
When you receive negative points for your color previously, yes, that's the only way to rectify it.
Well, then let me ask you,
when you actively cause harm.
Okay, so what if I'm short? And they won't let me on the football team or the basketball team because I'm short. Should
then you're not qualified. So you wouldn't count.
I can play ball.
Well, if you can play ball, then you're qualified, and you being short won't matter.
Yeah.
If you can play ball, then great.
Here's the problem. You'll be passed up if you're short. If you're 5'6", standing next to the guy who's 7'1", you will not get picked.
But you can play. But like you said, but if you can play, if you're the anomaly who's 5'6" and you can play, then great. But the fact simply is, people make it out of team.
Right, but what Charlie Kirk was talking about, we don't know if all of these people are qualified because we are more the liberals are more concentrated on their skin color than their
No, but
ability. Yeah,
that's
they
not
are.
true. Because again, never once for any of the affirmative action programs or DEI programs was someone who did not meet the qualifications.
Well, yes,
They
it
were
is.
never considered.
Yes,
It
it
was
is. Yes, it is.
no, it was about giving bonus points because of color after you already met the requirements. Find me one policy, one department, anywhere ever where they allowed people in who were not qualified.
Some of the schools, Harvard, Yale, some of the high end schools, will give you extra points, okay, for the
Yes,
test if you happen to be black or Indian or something like that. Is that fair?
yes, but you still have to qualify. You
But
still have to meet the GPA requirements.
but
You
you get
cannot go to
ahead,
Harvard with a 2.0.
right? But they put you ahead of the Oriental people who are traditionally a hell of a lot smarter, at least on paper, than most Americans are. But they would they put stupid people, not stupid, but not as
No, they're not.
uh,
If you qualify for Harvard, you're not stupid. And they all had to qualify.
That's true. Well, I don't know, but here's the problem. So we don't know because the other people, but they put these people over these people because of their color.
They gave them extra. Again, they gave extra points, but they still had to qualify on their own first.
Right. But let me ask something. Does life give you extra
Yeah.
points? Does life give you extra points? Because you was born
It's
poor,
not about
is life easier for you?
does life by itself take away points because of
Yes.
your race? No, but society did. So society tried to rectify what it had previously done.
And what
If I actively
so what if I'm the last guy? What if there are two people left for the position? And the only reason I got the position is because DEI came in and I got extra points. Is that fair to the guy there who's smarter than I am, who got better grades than I do? Is that is that right?
it is an unfortunate consequence of rectifying what was systematically done against people for generations.
Okay.
If you actively harm people, okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know where the racial wealth gap in this country comes from? The racial wealth gap between black and white, because it comes back to one policy. Do you know where it comes from? Because I can tell you in 30 seconds.
Well, tell me.
Okay, so in World War II, blacks and whites made the same salary in the army, in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them sent their money back because they're over their flag. They sent money back, save money. They come back from the war. That's when the housing boom starts.
Mm-hmm.
New neighborhoods being constructed. Well, blacks were systematically kept out of those neighborhoods by a policy called redlining. They were not allowed to buy those houses.
Yeah, I get
the number one way.
But why do we keep going back
there?
But why do we keep going back? We can't undo what happened. Why do we keep going back there?
Yes, we can. But when we try to, you call it DEI and you say it's bad.
Right, but why do we keep going back there? We can't undo what happened. It's gone. It's a done deal.
No. We can. See, here's the problem. The number one way the middle class transfers wealth is through property. When one group was systematically kept out of that, you have a racial wealth gap.
And again, we
can
can't
undo it.
We can't. Nobody takes the land with them.
But you pass it down to your children, and they have that wealth starting out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
and some don't.
So you think somehow we can live in a world where everybody's equal?
Absolutely.
That's called communism. That's called communism.
Yes, it is.
It is communism. What if I work 80 hours a week and you only work 20? Should we make the same amount of money?
We should make the same per hour.
Okay, I don't argue with that. But
Karl Marx. If you want to talk communism, you pick the right one. Karl Marx said, "To one according to his ability, and to one according to his need."
And again, Karl Marx and James Ingle. I used to read. Now I must admit to you, I've never admitted it before. When I was at home, I went out to University of Notre Dame, and I used to read Karl Marx, and it sounded like a great system. It really did.
Just like Jesus.
Everybody's equal, and nobody's got more than the other. And then, but when the reality,
that's not what it is.
Well,
that's not what it. It's not that nobody has more than the other. It's that basic needs are met. Do you know why Karl Marx became a communist? Do you know where that ideology came from? It came from he had a medical condition that, funnily enough, I have too, called hidradenitis suppurativa. It's a skin condition that causes extreme debilitating pain.
Right.
And in the country he lived in, there was no social safety net. So he was just suffering and seeing people hoard wealth.
Somebody told me, said, give me one nation where communism is working and everybody's equal.
Okay, and I'll ask you this. Give me one nation where anything close to communism has been tried that hasn't been completely attacked and subverted by the U.S. Give me one. Remember Vietnam, which we talked about last time.
Well,
when they tried to go communist.
I got to get somebody else. But listen, again, this is the way things should go. We're having a conversation about it. We disagree philosophically on some things, but we don't shoot one another, and we damn sure don't kill people.
I agree.
That disagree with us. Okay? And I think you're a reasonable guy to that point too. I don't think you are glad that they shot and killed that young man.
I agree. Let me end with one last brief point.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk said if someone bailed out the person who tried to kill Pelosi's husband, they would be a hero. Charlie Kirk supported political violence. He was not a good man.
Well, so as Democrats. They support it too.
And he said,
I didn't hear him say that, but
the same thing.
I never heard him say that, and I'll have to
look it up.
Look it up. Let me see. One nation. Let's see. Equity is not what they want. No, they want equal outcome. They want equal outcome. And I got you. And let me get my number here right quick. Hey, let me talk to my main man right here for a second. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good, not bad. How are you?
I'm doing great. I feel like I'm on an island all by myself, and I'm trying to, maintain some logic and reason in these conversations. But other than that, I'm doing good.
Well, your last call was trying to rescue you, I guess.
Well, no, he wouldn't. He didn't win me over. But everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Sure.
And you didn't have a great opinion of Charlie Kirk either, did you?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because he said racist stuff.
So do we.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say any. So.
So do we. We make listen. We make music with racist stuff all in it, and we buy it.
Well, you asked me what I thought. I told you what I thought, and.
What did he say was racist to you that you can remember?
I'm gonna say, how much do you? Stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I get on a plane, there's a black pilot. God, I hope he's qualified. So he was a fool who didn't even know how you get qualified to be a pilot. If you're flying a commercial airline, look, when you're flying a commercial airline, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this because of fools like this who troll and this kind of stuff. No matter who is on that plane, much like who is practicing law. I'll just use the bar exam for one example. All right. That bar exam that we take, lawyers, is taken in a public place. Everybody knows the rules. Everybody knows the time, the place. You know the general subjects that are going to happen, except for essays, where they don't necessarily tell you that. They tell you to cover about 20 subjects. They're going to test you on 6. It's given at the same time, and no one's name is on it. You're given numbers, and it's proctored and monitored. So when people pass the bar, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're male or you're female, you pass that threshold. Okay. Now Charlie Kirk is a fool who would question anybody who was a lawyer, whether they're a woman or whether they're black, and say they're qualified because they're a DEI. And that's the stupidity of what people think DEI is, because that's a conservative trolling point.
Okay.
And so when you get to pilots, hold on, Kevin. Okay. When you get to pilots in the past, they go through rigorous training, rigorous program. Nobody is giving away pilot's licenses. This is not Dollar Tree where you go buy one. But people troll in that because America is a fertile breeding ground for that. So people do things like that.
But let me ask you.
I don't take a guy like that. I don't take a guy like that seriously. Guy has no credibility. He had no credibility with me.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question.
Stupid stuff like that.
If we weren't trying to undo the past by nonsense,
whoever just great. You got to say what racist stuff that Charlie Kirk said. I just said what he said.
Okay, if we didn't have these programs where we seem to put one person over another person
for
whatever reason he was born. Well, yeah, it has been.
No, it's not. Kevin,
in school, in some of the schools. Wait a minute now. Now you cannot tell me that Yale and them have not done it because they did a couple of years ago. So when we have these programs, it leaves doubt in everybody's mind whether or not you're capable of doing the job. Are you here because of you by your own devices, because you're smart enough as everybody else, or are you here because there's some political move ahead? Like a couple of years ago, 3 women joined Ranger School. Guess what? 3 women were the general said they will pass. So therefore, now they walk around with a Ranger tab on that guys have a heart. There's a 70% washout in Ranger School. Okay, the first 3 women were passed because the general said they would pass. That's
Are you sure about
DEI
that?
that's DEI at its worst.
Hold on. So here's what you're telling me. You got evidence that these women didn't pass any Ranger qualifications, and
I
they
got
passed
evidence.
on the journal's
I
work.
got evidence that the course was modified so they could pass.
Now, let me say this. What part of this? Hold on. You said the course was modified.
It was
One,
modified.
I want to see it. Tell me what it was.
Women.
Two, what was the part that was modified?
The physical part, the physical agility part. Women cannot pick up things that men can naturally. You can't do it. You can't carry a 70-pound rucksack, a 40-pound parachute, a M60 machine gun. Women can't do it.
There are some women who can do that. That's not true.
I'm talking about a woman who's born a woman, not the one who think they're a woman.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
They're women. They're women power. They're women, Kevin. They're women. They're women in the gym that are out bench press you.
Well, they probably can't right now because I haven't been to the gym in a while. But a young one maybe, but not when I was 22.
Look, Ranger School is a specialty. A lot of men who wash out of that.
Sure,
but there are women.
Exactly.
Hey, hold on, Kevin. But that because a man washes out does not mean there nowhere is there a woman who could do it. That's absurd.
I saw these women. They didn't have the physique to carry the things that I carry.
Well, who's this? And some things
they modified.
You may have to look at the test to see if that stuff is even necessary anymore.
It's irrelevant whether it's necessary.
I don't know.
It's irrelevant.
I don't know what the facts are, so I just can't say that. I just know statistically somebody somewhere can do it.
So statistically, if 70% of the men wash out and the first 3 women ever be in Ranger School pass, what is the statistical chance that would happen?
Depends. I'm gonna say what it depends on.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know hold on, Kevin. I don't know who these women are, and neither do you.
Yeah,
and they could be
who they are.
They could be some of the strong. They could be some of the strongest, most fit women. They could be the elite of the elite for all I know, and probably for all you know.
I hear you.
Can't say that.
Let me get this call. Good morning.
Hey, Kevin. Good morning. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Kevin, I served in the military with women, and also was in law enforcement with women that can outbench men. And I served in the military with a woman that was in my squad. I was platoon sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
She was carrying an M60 machine gun. Trust me, she was a woman.
Mm-hmm.
M203 grenade launchers, assault.
We ain't sure they're women now because we changing men into women nowadays.
Kevin, keep in mind, I joined the military in the 80s, Kevin.
Okay.
Trust me, they were women.
We didn't have. Listen, I'm not saying that women. I'm not saying that there may be a few women. But
Kevin, I've served in the military where women passed the PT test and men got canceled and later got kicked out.
Yeah. Matter of fact, when I was in Germany, taking PT test, going up a 90-degree hill, men start falling out, and a couple of women there, they did make it up the hill.
Right.
I don't mind giving them their respect and their honor for doing that. My problem is that we keep changing when we put these programs into women. We cause everybody. We cause
Kevin,
everybody.
You can't assume that's just like somebody assumed that you're on the radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got those rights because you were black and not because of your skills. Now I want to also say this too, Kevin. And I don't condone anybody getting killed or anything like that. It was horrific. I saw the video. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. He was young enough to be my child, so my condolences go out to him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
But he said some stuff, man. That for one, he said that blacks were better off slaves because when they were slaves, they wasn't killing each other and the crime rate was down and they wasn't getting in any trouble and everything. That's what he said, Kevin. That's exactly what he said.
And again, why did the general? Wait a minute. Why did the general show up at Fort Benning and tell the Ranger people in the regiment
Kevin,
they will? Wait a minute. He said they will pass.
Kevin, I'm talking about Charlie Kirk now, or whatever the young man's name
I
is,
like
with all
Charlie.
due respect. And Kevin, and I want to say this too. The man also said, he said if there was a woman that was a surgeon, and she was black, and she needed to, and he needed an appendix removal, he said he would question her qualification because she was black, and he would question whether or not she was DEI.
So let me ask you something. Who
Those-
put,
and then- and then I'm-
who put us in the position to be doubted? It's these stupid government programs that
Kevin-
make people think we can't do it ourselves.
Kevin,
I'm
just
just saying-
as Joe just said,
Yeah.
when you're taking those bar exams, when you're going to medical school and everything, trust me, they don't cut any corners. One of the last things I want to say about, Mr. Kirk,
Yeah.
he said that it might be necessary for a person to die of gun violence in order to protect the Second Amendment.
And do you
That's what
understand?
he said.
But do you understand? I took that statement apart and I came with a whole different.
Kevin.
I'm sorry. What
I can see-
the man was saying is that for every right we have, somebody died.
Kevin,
Would you disagree with
Kevin, I can see if it was a one-off, but he lived that life. He
Okay.
spoke that life. It's more than just a one-off, Kevin.
Okay.
He
Again,
was talking about the shooting, the Valdoa or the mass shooting or whatever the case is.
Right.
He said that empathy is an excuse. It's in so many words, empathy is not necessary. In so many words, so I wouldn't be surprised, Kevin. We don't know who pulled the trigger, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a grieving parent of one of those mass shootings. I wouldn't be surprised. We just don't know who could have done
Yeah,
it.
like I said,
And
I
another
didn't
thing-
agree. I didn't agree with everything, but philosophically, I understood some of the places where he was coming from. If they stopped putting in programs to make it seem like we helpless black people, then nobody would ever question whether or not we're qualified
Kevin,
to do the job.
The man even said that the civil rights bill, signing that into law, was a mistake. He said it should have never happened. Everything that he talked about, Kevin, was divisive.
Okay.
And the issue that I have, Kevin, is that, and trust me, the president can do whatever he wants. But when John McCain died, it took everybody trying to get into that president's ear to lower that flag center mass. And John McCain was a war hero, POW, the whole deal. And he was trying to think of all the reasons in the world why not to lower that flag center mass.
And I hear what you're saying. But John McCain became a politician and let politics determine his positions rather than whether or not it was good for the country.
But
I wasn't a John McCain fan.
The man was a war hero.
Okay, he wasn't the only one.
Kevin, the man served the country and he served it with dignity, integrity. He didn't have the same type of issues that Trump is now having right now. But I said all that to say this, Kevin.
Yeah.
It was a horrible thing. I hate to see that. I thought about my kids. My kids are his age, in his generation. I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody. It was horrible. And then to see it on media, it was deplorable.
Yeah.
And all. But my thing is, this guy, he lived by the sword, and unfortunately, he died by it. In fact, when he was talking about,
I don't think he shot anybody.
No, Kevin, but they asked him about mass shooting, and he was commenting on that, and he brought up, he said, in so many words, he was implying that, gang shootings are, kill more people than mass shootings. And
they do. And they do.
And unfortunately, Kevin, and that's debatable. But
5,500
that doesn't happen.
5,500 black men are killed each year in this country. 5,500 by gun violence and homicide.
Kevin, and I need to get back to you on the numbers, but
I know the numbers. I did
saying that on the behalf of black men when he said that George Floyd, talking about George Floyd died because he was on drugs, and that the knee to the neck was law enforcement had the right to do it, and that's the no-go because we didn't learn that in the police academy when I went through in 1990, and we didn't learn that in the military police academy that you put your knee on a person's neck. You don't do that. That's
that was a bad thing too. I mean, of course, that was a bad thing somebody to do, but I guess.
But he said that George Floyd, that the officers didn't kill him. He died of a drug overdose, and everybody in the nation, in the world, saw what happened. So. It was it's unfortunate what had happened, but I don't think, and I'm a Christian, man. I don't want, to anyone to celebrate the man's death, but let's not celebrate him as though he was a hero.
Well, again, I don't think, right. And I appreciate
divided.
Yeah. I don't think everybody agrees. I don't think everybody agrees in any in everything that any human being says. I'm a philosophical person. If the philosophy is right, that doesn't mean that you can't put a little too much sugar in the coffee, even if I like coffee. So I didn't agree with everything that he said, but I understand the philosophy in which he was talking about. And I do believe that if we keep coming up with another program here, because we're going to accumulate. We always had to take DEI classes. And I asked Mary Berner, who ran the CEO of Cumulus, I said, listen, I don't never think about my color. Y'all keep bringing it up. I said, every time we turn around, we got to take another test about how to treat black people. I'm good. Okay. And what we do is if my dog bites you, and every time you see me, I'm beating the hell out the dog, then after a while, you're going to be in the dog side, because enough beating people about this is enough. We've been talking about a DEI and what happened back in 1962. It's gone. We can't undo it. I'm worried about now and where we go from this point. We got the worst schools in America in the hood. We got more crime in most of the cities in America ran by Democrats. And Mr. Joe, every bad school in this country, every bad city that has high crime is ran by a Democrat. Something is wrong with the philosophy. And even the city, even the school, even the cities that are in Republican states with governors who are Republican, the cities have some of the worst education and some of the highest crime. There's something wrong with the philosophy.
Because most of these states have pulled the money and the funding from these schools.
That don't mean you got to kill each other.
Poor people here.
But that don't mean
scraped off. Hold on.
Kill each other.
Hold on, Kevin. They pulled off, and most of these states have been pulling funding from public schools ever since the court integrated them, 1954. And the
Alabama got $1 billion school budget.
Well, that's Kevin, because that's a trend. You can go back and look at that. They start pulling up money. In fact, I'll go. That's simply what happened. Okay, they're pulling up funding.
We got $1 billion.
Kevin, what you can't do is you can't starve a person, watch them lose weight, lose strength, get sick, and then blame them for not performing where other folks are being fed, exercise, given vitamins, all those things. You can't do that, and that's simply what's happening here. Or as far as that is concerned, you got an urban center where you leave a lot of people who are simply poor.
But you don't have to be a criminal because you're poor. You don't have to break the law because you're poor. You don't have to steal and rob.
Poverty will breed crime. It simply will. Okay.
No, crooks breed crime.
Well, poverty does too. Okay. Poverty does too. And so a lot of these places are like that. That isn't. I'm not saying that people don't have self-control.
That's greed, though. You want something that somebody else has, and you're willing to do whatever you have to do to get it.
Sure.
What being poor has? What? So, you know what you did? Probably the same thing you did, same thing your dad did, same thing my folks did. We got out there, we worked, we went to school, and we figured how to get it. It took us a little longer to get it, but we got what we wanted. It takes work.
Well,
but let me ask you. I want you to be honest. Now, I'm gonna say just how intellectually honest you're going to be. Do you believe that some of these programs, DEI, whatever you want to call it, whatever name you want to give the program? Hold on for a minute there, sign man. Whatever name you want to give the program, do you believe that it has done? Has it had a overall negative effect or positive effect?
Positive, easy. And I don't take some jerk from his perch of white privilege because he raises a question to think that question is some empirical evidence. Well, I have to consider whether or not someone is a black pilot, whether they're DEI qualified. I drop an F-bomb right now, but I'm not gonna do it. And the next one will be you. And tell them to kiss a couple of places. One thing that I'm sitting on. That's what I would tell them, because it's easy to sit there when you've had all the advantages, when there was codified superiority for people who looked a certain way and discrimination against folks who didn't look a certain way. When you've got to have 2 constitutional amendments to give 1, women to vote, 2, black men to vote, and a civil rights act to make sure they're not subverting that. I'm not listening to a jerk like that. Brandon,
Okay.
he can't tell me water is wet, Kevin. He can't tell me that.
Go ahead, man,
Okay.
Curtis.
And so no. I'm just no. I think there's
Hello?
nothing wrong with DEI.
Go ahead.
It's about diversity, equity, and
This
inclusion.
Duke,
It's
young
a
man.
concept.
Kelvin,
Yeah,
got a question for you.
yeah, I got the answer.
For months and months and months and months, people been trying to draw attention to these kids getting mowed down in these schools, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All we got were thoughts and prayers. Why is it different for this individual?
Point.
Again, if you have kids bringing gun to schools,
Kelvin, hold a minute now, hold it. Yeah, answer my question. Don't re off into the corner. I ask you a question. How is it that this individual, I hate he lost his life, okay?
Because in America,
but his life, it's some kids got shot yesterday also.
Okay.
So few weeks ago, some kids got shot.
Okay.
They picking on. They worry about whether the guy that did the shooting was transgender or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they wasn't focusing on the kids' life. All they got was thoughts and prayers. Okay.
Because America has well, let me ask you a question.
American got a gun problem. American got a gun control problem.
We do. I totally agree with you.
Everybody got guns. Everybody in Montgomery can get a gun. The kids, every 15 years old, 14-year-old can get a gun.
Yeah.
But Calvin, how is it that all of a sudden the world wants to shut down because this one man got shot, but
because here's the problem.
10 or 15 kids get shot at one time in these schools by these white kids.
Here's the difference, and I think, and listen, nobody's life is more valuable.
Please tell me.
Nobody's life is more valuable than the other.
There you go.
But it is rare in this country that we kill people for political philosophy, that things they believe. And that's what makes this terrible.
What about the people that got shot? The man went in these people's house and shot these people, Kevin. And Trump said Trump picking on the governor, talking about I might talk to him, I might not.
Well, that's
a couple of months ago.
That's politics. I'm telling you.
But what I'm saying, he wanted both ways. Now you want to blame the Democrats. Why blame the Democrats? They don't even know who did it yet.
Everybody, it was a Democrat. It was a Democrat.
That's how stuff like this. That's why stuff get.
Because it's a philosophy. A conservative philosophy or the conservative philosophy does not rely on. I think in my mind that I've known, most conservatives I know wouldn't go out and just shoot you because they disagree with you. They just stop talking to you.
Democrats, the ones that did it the last time was Republicans, Kevin, that shot at Trump and others. Okay, come on, get your lies straight.
They wasn't Republicans.
That's what they said they were.
Lied to the police.
But my point here, my thing is, let's get back to my point that. I would love for them to give more than thoughts and prayers for these babies getting killed, and instead of like this guy's God. Okay, he's not God.
Political violence.
These kids are God because they're babies.
I hear you, but those kids are getting shot by most of the people who coming from their own neighborhoods, and
I'm talking about the response, dude.
Well, again, what can you say? That's still not as bad.
Well, look what they're doing for this man. They putting this man on a pedestal like he's better than the kids.
Nah, it's not. See, you're missing the point. You're Democrats.
I'm seeing what's happening. I'm looking at what's happening. But when the kids get shot, 2 kids got shot yesterday in Colorado, and damn thing been said about that. Kevin.
Well,
they highlighting this boy.
Wait a minute. A woman got killed in last month. September, August, got killed on a bus in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we just found out about it yesterday. A man sitting down on the bus cuts her.
We just found out about that yesterday. Now, come on.
I did.
But you trying to re-off into the corner.
No.
Let's talk about the subject matter at hand right here. This guy,
he cut her
this guy lived his life like he wanted to live it. Okay.
Okay.
And he had the right to do what he wanted to do. But what I'm saying, whether me or you. Whether me and you getting shot, I want the same attention put toward every individual that gets shot or killed or whatever. Same energy.
Sure you do.
Don't come to my thoughts and prayers only for the kids.
I hear you.
Then you want to put this guy on a pedestal.
I don't want to put him on a pedestal.
What we're doing now? We glorify his life and telling every aspect of his life. Tell about the kid's life. Sometimes
when you get killed in this country for what you think, Not you haven't hurt anybody.
What about the innocent babies y'all claim y'all love?
Wait a minute, y'all
that get shot down in these damn schools, Kevin.
Y'all believe in aborting them.
I didn't know y'all. I'm talking about me and you talking right now. I'm talking about the other people we talking about. But what I'm saying now, put emphasis on that, on these babies that got shot yesterday.
Okay, appreciate it. Again, I can't put emphasis on everybody. Again, I don't know if those were political killings or just crooks like they normally are. But again, for people who always talk about we want to, it's my body. I can kill it if I want to. Now I'm concerned about the baby. Wow. No, now you're concerned about the kids. Or if it was up to y'all, we wouldn't have no kids. That's what I'm saying. Not everybody, of course. Everybody don't believe in that. But you don't believe in that, do you, there, Joe?
What's that?
Abortion. We're going to leave that alone. You talk
so that's a woman's issue.
See there?
Let women deal with that. It's not your issue, Ken.
I hear. But I think you do have to say, though, this was a America has not been known for political killings. Abraham Lincoln, of course, John F. Kennedy, of course, a couple of,
Wasn't McKinley killed?
Yeah. Again, these are rare occurrences in this country where people get killed for what they think. And this man yesterday got killed for what he thought. Whether it was stupid or not, or whether you believed it or not, nobody deserves to die in America who is predicated on, our whole system of government is predicated on those amendments and those constitutional rights. When you start to dwindle those away, the protections away from citizens, we in some deep kimchi. Okay.
See, Kevin, I think you're confused a couple of things. I don't think the protections of freedom of speech have been chipped away by the government. I don't think it's that. I think it is, you have the freedom of speech, sure, but there are consequences for your speech too, okay? It's legal to say a lot of things, okay? But I don't advise people to say everything that they think either.
And sometimes, listen, that's reasonable sense. I hear you.
You got to, when your wife comes in and asks you, how does it, honey, does this dress make me look fat? You better be real careful about the next words that come out of your mouth.
Well, I would say under my right of free speech.
You got free speech, but you better be real careful.
Okay.
About what comes out of your mouth.
But
I say all that to say, you can say a lot of things. And you can say a lot of incendiary things.
Mm-hmm.
And incendiary things tend to provoke people. I'm not justifying, I'm simply explaining it. But to your point, you're right. People should be killed for the things they say and their thoughts. That's a bridge too far. It's just that's way, way out of line. That being said, though, people are careful of the things people say and the provocation that you put out there, because we got a bunch of nut jobs out here and everybody can get their hands on a gun. So you start talking about stuff that's very inflammatory. I'm not talking about, we know people have been killed over what football team they like. We know that.
That's true. And chicken.
Right. And chicken. So there's no level that Americans won't sink to snuff your life out. Okay.
But you have to believe that a person's philosophy matters. You got to believe it. Because if you don't believe that, like Martin Luther King said, your life's philosophy matters. And some of these people believe things and that are just detrimental to our freedoms in this country.
Yeah, but people lead from the top too. Look, and to your point, I think earlier.
Hello.
Yeah.
I was just calling you. You making a statement. Yesterday should teach all of us, Democrats, Republicans, Independents. Watch what you say. Stop feeding the frenzy, because you don't know who is out there and what stability or unstable they are. We all should learn as America, try to bind ourselves back together, because nobody's untouchable. And we found that out yesterday. So we ought to stop being stupid, stop saying ugly things, and show some kindness in this country that we have lost.
Well,
that's what we need to do. If we don't learn anything else, regardless of everything, color, anything, you need to learn how to go back to our moral orange in life and learn how to be kind to each other.
Mm. What if the other guy's
That's
not
what
kind?
you need to
What if
do.
the other guy's not kind to you?
God said, you do your part, and
Okay.
he'll answer to the other part.
Okay. He also said there's a righteous indignation.
Yes,
And he said
and
there's
that's
a
what
time
got
for
us this
peace and a
point.
time for war. So
You know,
sometimes you
one thing
got to fight.
yeah, but one thing you all fail to realize, from the head in the White House, where this filter down to, when they put each other against each other, the Democrats hate the Republicans, and Republicans hate the Democrats. Nobody worried about the country. Everybody worried about lining their pockets and doing what they want to do, and forget about the people and the country.
Mm.
And we talk hate, and it got so now it's out of hand.
All right, that has. I appreciate it. Let me ask you a question, Joe.
Sure.
And again, I don't have a barometer on one side or another. Only the vitriol that I hear in commentators across the nation. If you had to say, just for the sake of the conversation, which group of people are more violent and more prone to use violence, Democrats or conservatives or liberals, which would you say?
It's hard to say.
Not really.
I think you have extremes on both sides.
You do.
It's just hard to say. So you have extremes on both sides. I think you lead from. I think you look at it from. All I think most of us can probably do is look at our memories and remember at least leadership and things of that nature. I mean, born in the '60s, but remember the '70s, the '80s, and moving forward. I don't ever recall, at least in my memory, there have always been disagreements, but I never recall the level of toxicity that we see here now since 2016. And what fuels that? I think if I would say that right now, I'd probably say conservatives more so than liberals. And I'll use when I say big picture things, not small things, because people are doing stuff all over the place. And I don't know necessarily the political ideology of a lot of the smaller things. For instance, the couple that was killed in Minnesota, I don't know that perpetrator's political ideology. Stephen Savarese, was shot at a softball game. He's Republican congressman. I don't know what that political. I think people are matching energy, and that's why I think your leadership has to tone it down. But when you never watched Ronald Reagan say any crazy stuff about violence. You never saw either Bush 41 or 43 do it. You didn't see Clinton do it. You didn't see Obama do it. You didn't see these guys do that. But we get to the reality TV president, and all the gloves are off, the guardrails are down, the ropes are down,
and let me ask
anything. And anything goes now, and that part, not a lot of it's not his fault, because a lot of that's just the culture that we're in right now. But when you encourage that sort of atmosphere, okay, you're going to get these sorts of things.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you believe? And again, most of us are reasonable people. I mean, we have our own idiosyncrasies, but most of us have a decent education. We at least finished high school. Why do you believe? And this is something that nobody's answered me since Trump got in the White House the first time. Why do you believe if the system was so well, and if everybody had come to Jesus' meeting, and the country was going in a great place, we were doing good things, leading this country in great places. Why do you believe that we turned around and put Trump in office? I voted for him both times. Why do you believe then people have reasonable minds, reasonable ability to think? Why do you think we voted for a guy that was so different than anything we've ever had before?
Because racism and sexism is stronger than religion.
Wait a minute, black folks voted for him too.
I said racism and sexism was stronger than religion.
But what's religion?
We talked about why you didn't vote for Harris. You say you weren't going to vote for any woman.
Well, I won't.
I think there are a lot of men who feel that way.
Right. But again, The second time he came in, something was certainly going bad in America. It was something was going bad when you can't say Merry Christmas in a local store because the policy is you can't say anything that has anything to do with religion in your public communication with customers. Okay, when you can't use it God's name, even the military got to the point where they said you can't say God. Okay, and that was a couple of years ago. I talked to a couple of women. I talked to a couple of chaplains who said that they were not allowed to use the word God in the army at that time. This a few years ago. Now they were allowed to bring you in. You know, if you're Catholic, they're allowed to bring you into, you know, have your confession, things like that. But they said they were counseled about using the word God. When the Democrats a few years ago said they took God out of the platform, take it out of the platform, out of the national committee. They wouldn't use the word.
I don't remember any of that.
I
Never
know you don't. I know
heard
you.
that.
Most Democrats don't remember that, but they took it out of the platform.
Well, again, I like to see that because I know there are a lot of sensational
I
one-off,
understand.
nut
I'm not
jobs
being
that say
sensational.
crazy stuff, and then
Yeah,
conservatives try to
but
take it and
but
make it like
but
it's happening every day.
something was wrong that we were willing to put a guy in. We were willing to make a general out of a guy who'd never been in the army.
Told you what it was. I told you what it was.
That's too simplistic of an answer.
It's a straight line.
But blacks and
I
white
think it's a
folks,
few points. I
black
think it's
folks,
a few
white folks.
points here. I
Yeah.
think you have a few points. I think you had a couple of points here. Donald Trump, when I stand back and look at on a macro level, he's run for president 3 times. The only guy to beat him was a white dude. He's been beaten. He lost. He beat a white woman. He beat a black woman. But the white dude kicked his butt and kicked it thoroughly.
He didn't do it the last time.
I mean, the white dude did kick his butt. It was Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, they cheated.
Oh well. Oh, okay. Well, when you get a judge to agree with you, I'll buy that.
Wait a minute. Joe Biden didn't know he was. Joe Biden didn't even know he was still in the White House.
Well, we can debate that, but that's simply what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And so what it tells me is that, you know, there's still men in this country and even a lot of women.
There's about 80 million people on both. There were about 80 million people on both sides, give or take a few. That's a hell of a lot of people to vote for you. If you think that you think they're all nuts.
Sexism and racism is still prevalent. I mean, like I said, Charlie Kirk trafficked in it. Conservatives traffic in it all day. They do that stuff all the time. You turn on this stuff.
What did he say that was racist?
I told Kevin, that's the 3rd time I've said that today with Charlie Kirk. And the internet is full of more things than I've heard.
Right.
And you can pull that because he doesn't stop talking. He never did, except for now he stopped talking. But he never did before. But my point is that I'm getting back to what you started with earlier, which is I think America is very simple. America does not want a woman to lead them. They're not ready for that yet. If Kamala Harris was a man.
Hold on, Joe. She was a man.
I'll say if she were a man, with her credentials, she'd be president. She'd be president.
Dr. Joe, yeah, right. Dr. Joe, good morning.
Well, the conservatives may be racist and misogynist, but the liberals hate Jews. Why do they hate Jews so much, Kevin? What do you think that?
Don't hate Jews.
I don't have a clue, brother. I don't have a clue. I
haven't seen any Nazi flags at any liberal gathering.
And why don't they have DEI in the NFL? How many white running backs have you seen lately? And do you know this?
They had it in Major League Baseball.
California made affirmative action against the law, and guess what? All those big schools that were having all those blacks get into their schools, all of a sudden they couldn't get into those. They had to go to community colleges and some of the lesser known colleges. What do you think that is?
I missed that question.
Are you there?
He said he missed your question. So speak up a little bit so he can hear you.
They outlawed affirmative action in California, and all of a sudden, all the blacks that they had in those big schools, like Stanford and UCLA, Southern Cal, they couldn't get in. So they had to go to community colleges and some of the smaller schools. What do you think that is?
That's Mrs. That's Mrs. That's not accurate. I think, and I have to dig in with those numbers. I don't think that's accurate. I have to dig into those numbers to actually see if that's. But affirmative action was
Yes, it
simply
is
again
accurate.
a plan. It wasn't quotas. Quotas have been got rid of in this country since 19, I think 76, 77, whenever California versus Bakke came out, and the Supreme Court knocked that off. So we haven't had that. But nobody ever talks about the unqualified. Let me be blunt about this. Nobody talks about the
Listen, hold
unqualified
on,
white
hold on.
folks who get in jobs, who get there because of who they
they
know.
were they just
And as far as Harvard is concerned,
they,
here's what I know. I know about
they
Harvard's
just got
admissions.
through. The Supreme Court just got through ruling that Harvard and Yale were discriminating against the Asians.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and making affirmative action admissions. That just happened a few
And
years
white
ago.
numbers are
So
down
don't
here.
tell
Black
me
numbers, I think, are
affirmative
still roughly
action
the
is way in
same.
the past. That's a lie. That's ass facts. We call those ass facts.
Okay. Man, you got to turn that next time you call that. Turn that radio down. We getting bleed over up here.
I'll pull Harvard's numbers, but once you get to a school like Harvard, not give Harvard all the credit in the world, and the elite people who go there, you know, whether you get a 1600 on an SAT, I guess maybe this number they're still using, or you get 1598 or 1550. Now your issues of who gets in, and a lot of people hitting 1600 too. That's the elite of the elite who are applying to these schools. And you're getting to a point where it is who can drive a nail into a board the best. Well,
one of the things about those schools, Harvard.
But what the caller just missed about that is he never talks about all those white kids who got in, who didn't deserve to get in because of who their parents were or what money they paid. So you don't talk about that kind of stuff. Okay. Don't talk about the past discrimination where Black people and even women were simply kept out of these schools when they were far more qualified than the white kids who were getting in. He talks about that.
But you know, if we keep and again, listen, what you say when everybody brings that up, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But we're never going to undo the past by holding on to it like an albatross.
No, people keep repeating it, Kevin. People keep perpetrating the same things that happened. I said a long time ago, the biggest mistake the country made at the end of the Civil War was not punishing the Confederacy. It's the biggest mistake this country made.
I don't know. I don't know.
Huge. Not enough people were tried, convicted, and executed in that. What happened? Lincoln wanting to heal the Union was an error. Letting people who had stoked a civil war, taken up arms against this country, fought against this country, and let them assume their old positions. You know.
Well, again, I don't know, but I will say one thing. People got mad at Trump because he did not want to give Harvard $2 billion of government money. Well, Harvard has a $52 billion endowment, and the Supreme Court, which is kind of leaning left now, said, well, yeah, you got to give it to them. Why in the world should we give poor people's money who can't get into Harvard, who can't afford to send their kids there, give them their money when they hold $52 billion endowment? That's crazy. And Trump said, no, we ain't going to do that. Well, of course, you got to give it to them.
I think a contract's a contract and deal's a deal. I don't get into every legal decision that the Supreme Court comes out with because it's so litigious right now, you can't keep up with it. But contracts are contracts, and when money's appropriated, it's got to go where it's supposed to go. So I assume that's what their decision was. But I hear your point. It's an uber rich school. Why do they need government money? You know, Alabama's got tax dollars too. Why does Alabama need federal money? It's got its own tax base.
Yeah.
Answer that question.
Well, hell, if Harvard can get it, then Alabama ought to get some.
Well, no, I'm saying Alabama has its own people, has a tax base. Does it need federal money?
No, well, you wouldn't think so. I guess, listen, there are a lot of things going on in this country. Again, though, the difference between yesterday and all the killings we have in this man, we have too many of them. I did research last night. 5,500 black men are murdered every year in this country, are killed. 5,500. A lady was arguing with him about 4,000 happened some years ago when we kill 55. Statistically, where 5,500 black men die in America every year for stupid reasons. So my point is that I just don't know.
What tool is used, Kevin?
Huh?
What is the tool that is used in these deaths? What's the common tool?
Guns.
Right. But now put a period behind that.
Yeah,
Stop
I
right
hear
there.
you. I
Stop
hear
right
you.
there.
But
Kevin,
I had
hold
guns when I
on.
was
Wait.
young.
No. Don't. Stop right there. You got the tool. That's actually what the tool was.
Mhm.
Okay. You can't deal with gun violence without dealing with guns. That's just common sense. You
Right.
can't deal with that. And so until you use the burglars, they call them burglars' tools. If someone's using the tool to do something, if you take away the tool, you can't take away the person usually because we don't know that stuff until it goes down. Can't go around indiscriminately picking up people before things happen. But if there's a tool that is being used, we need to address that tool. You got to look at the gun deaths, look at it, and we can come back and talk about it another time. But let's look at Japan, an industrialized city, country, and how they deal with guns, what their gun laws are. Let's look at the United Kingdom, our cousins across the pond. All right. Let's look at France. Look at all these Western countries we ally ourselves with and we pull people from and all this other stuff. Let's look at how they address guns and what those gun policies are and look at their rates per capita. Let's look at that. And then let's start to figure out if there's something that we need to be doing instead of simply shrugging our shoulders at the idea and pretending it doesn't go on. And I'll say this about what the conservative ideology is. There's so many there. The only right that they care about is the Second Amendment. When it comes to voting rights, the specter of fraud, and I call it a specter because it's ridiculous, would have them jumping through, doing the old James Bond alligator walk from Live and Let Die. Okay? They walk on alligators to restrict your right to vote under the rare claim of fraud in this country and voter fraud. Okay? Now, we have killings every day. Nobody says they don't do anything about the tools to do that. But when it comes to voting, where is that same passion to correct? I should say this. Let me reverse that. Where's the same caring concern about, quote, voter fraud when you're dealing with gun crimes in America with that right? Because we have a 15th Amendment right to vote, for those who don't know. All right. That's in the 15th Amendment. Where is that? We get killings all the time. All right.
But if we one of the texters makes a point here. The instrument that was used in Charlotte, of course, was a knife.
Hold on. We'll concoct like the president who flat out lied to the American public about a stolen election, which is a damn lie. It always has been. It always.
Well, he convinced me.
60. Kevin, I can convince you. Kevin, I can convince you that Easter comes on Wednesday.
He convinced me because some of the things I saw, especially out of Atlanta, some of the things I saw.
And Rudy Giuliani is dead broke because of that foolishness. Disbarred, like a whole bunch of other lawyers who were disbarred, perpetrating fake filings, fake allegations and filings before judges, and got their licenses taken. Of course, my advice, I've seen the sad pictures.
Well,
and all that. And I hope they can go. I hope they can go to Donald Trump and get themselves a job for what they did.
Well, he probably can't. But again, now, I have never seen local courts judge the president's executive orders, the president's things that he does by local courts. That I've never seen that before. I've been alive for a little while.
You say local, like state.
I ain't talking about Supreme Court. I'm talking about these. I don't even know where they get their
local courts aren't in that, Kevin. You're talking about
the appeals court. I don't know where they think they get their authority to override the president. I've never seen it happen.
The president does it because we don't have a king in this country, Kevin. No matter how bad conservatives want Donald Trump to be a king, he is not a king.
Well, Obama said as long as he got a pencil and a pen, he can pretty much do what he wanted to do.
No, I don't think Obama ever said that.
Yes, he did.
Saying he said that.
Yeah, he
I don't
did.
think
Look it
Obama
up.
ever mouthed those words.
Yes, he did.
But
Yes, he did.
let's hypothesize this for 1 second.
Okay.
If Obama said that,
Yes.
I would tell him the same thing I'm telling you,
Well,
and he is wrong.
Well, that's what you're saying now.
He's
But
awesome.
didn't nobody say it? Didn't nobody say it?
I never heard it, and if anybody would ask me the question, he's wrong. We don't. If the federal district courts are involved in stuff, that means, and the president's issuing orders, he does it every day. He just does it every day. You can't almost keep up with him. Some of those things he can do through executive order. Most of those things he's saying he can't do, he didn't have the authority to do. Okay. And so when you exceed your authority, that's where our courts come in. They're going to say, yeah, no, you can't do that. If he's saying under executive authority that I'm going to turn the United States Army, which he's trying to do with the National Guard, into an occupying.
And you don't think that they need
hold on.
Wait a minute. We got two.
I'm gonna finish. Let me finish what I'm saying.
We got two diplomats who were killed in Washington, D.C. That kind of crap right there can start wars. And they robbing. Wait a minute. They're holding up Secret Service at gunpoint. You don't believe that the police cannot handle the city?
True.
It ain't true.
That is not, because that happened does not mean the police can't handle the city.
Well, they wasn't handling it. They didn't handle it.
That is not true. Then the answer may simply be, instead of the millions of dollars being spent deploying these troops, how about giving Washington, D.C. the same amount of money to hire more police officers? How about that?
Wait a minute. That's Washington, D.C.'s issue.
Okay, well, it can be anybody's issue. What I'm saying is that rather than trying to put troops on the streets, which is un-American, okay?
It's not un-American. That's what we got National Guard for.
The National Guard is not equipped to police American streets. That's not what its function is. And don't go down that road.
It seems like neither is our police at the moment.
Well, what you're judging now is, in your opinion, the competence of the police force all over this country,
No.
whether it can do its job on an individual basis. That's its function. And it's up to those chief executives to make sure that happens. But we're not going to live in a crime-free society. Freedom, by its very nature, breeds society.
Why can't we live in a crime-free society?
Our freedoms, our freedom of speech, our freedom of association, the warrant requirement, all those things will allow bad people to take advantage of that and do bad things. Okay.
I got the quote here. Obama said, "I will use my pen and phone to take on Congress."
Okay, that's not a bad. I have no problem with that statement.
So if Trump says it, then
Trump says it, I've got no problem with that.
Right. Yeah.
Donald Trump could say that today. I'm like, I'll use my pen and my phone to take on Congress. Okay.
The problem is the president does have certain authorities, whoever the president is, as the executive head of this of the country.
Agree with that.
So I don't. It seems like everything this man wants.
Not unlimited, Kevin, and it's constrained by the law.
I agree with you. But if they hadn't taken us so far to the left, where we got men and women marrying each other. We now get killed. Wait a minute, transgender. We get now, and it looks like everybody who did stupid things with a gun nowadays, at least white folks anyway, are taking these transgender drugs. So something's wrong. Something is wrong with the way we're doing things.
You bothered by what drug somebody takes?
If it means somebody going to get killed by them, yeah.
Minute. I don't think. Wait a minute.
And the doctors have said
it. I don't think a drug to, as you call it, a transgender drug, which I don't know necessarily what that means, but I don't think a transgender drug is going to make you become psychotic that you go out.
Okay, look it up. I don't have time to look it up. Look it up. Some doctors got together a couple of weeks ago and said just what everybody's
doing. Robert Kennedy's doctors.
Listen, I don't even like Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy got me confused.
Kennedy's a fool. Robert Kennedy's
does he have a medical degree?
Oh, no.
So I'm trying to figure out why are we leaning so much on what he says if he isn't.
He's the head of the CDC and he's got power and control of that agency.
But I'm just saying he doesn't have a medical degree. So I don't understand.
He's right. He shouldn't be anywhere. That's like making you head of NASA.
Yeah, that's true. They'd be in trouble. But I don't understand this Robert Kennedy thing. I mean, because he thinks, and listen, maybe some of the things he's concerned about are true, but you would think that people in head of the CDC would be somebody with a medical degree, or
You would think.
you would think
And,
that.
and that's nonpartisan. It's science. It's medicine.
Now Trump got me on that one because the Kennedy
Well,
thing. I don't.
He's an agent. He's an agent of chaos. He's an agent of chaos. I mean, who does this? And now I think Alabama, at least a few weeks ago, picked up his first case of measles. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's because we're letting everybody come in. So.
But nobody I knew had measles. I can't remember measles in my lifetime. I'm 55. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember because I had them.
I remember well, you're a little older than me, so you probably remember, but that's been gone. And since this president has been in, and the fool that he hired he hired a conspiracy theorist, a non-scientist.
Yeah.
To tell us now that he can look at. He said he could look at children and diagnose them.
Mm-hmm. Well, White, the guy, according to the newspaper article, they were diplomats. Now you telling me that they weren't diplomats; they were staff of diplomats. Does that make a difference, though? Does that make a difference? Two young folks are killed, by people in Washington D.C. And a black lady.
Well, I think Diplom says, well, yeah, because staff of diplomats gets off. That's one thing. A diplomat himself, that's higher levels. That's going to be something else. Now, to the loss of life itself, no, it does not matter. Politically, it may matter, but not politically may matter, but not the loss of life. But again, you can't. Again, the city is flooded with guns, so you can get a gun as quick as you can get a hamburger. Okay, you can do that. We have prevention. We have laws that prevent indiscriminately stopping and searching and shaking down. Nobody can just come to your door random and do random house searches. And guns are legal. They're not illegal things. And so people who I think are, I spoke with Chief Cunningham, said a guy could walk down the street with a pistol on or a rifle on his arm, carrying it down Dexter Avenue, and there's nothing he could do about it.
As a matter of fact, Gary is making a great point here too. We have used true. There's Kent State, there's the University of Alabama, and the University of Alabama and the University of Arkansas that we use federal troops that open the doors so those kids could get in there.
That was to enforce the court order, if I'm not mistaken.
That was where
my memory's right. That was to enforce the desegregation orders,
right,
and provide protection in the
but we did.
That was just not a general police action, Kevin.
Well, but we did use them as the police.
Well, Kevin,
to let the people go. Yeah, I mean,
yes, but the purpose was to enforce these court orders.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because.
But we also
state officials weren't doing their jobs.
Wait a minute, in 1934, 35, Douglas MacArthur and Eisenhower pulled tanks as well as troops on American citizens who were former veterans because they promised them money that they didn't give them. And those boys showed up in Washington, D.C., and we did turn American machinery, military machinery, on former veterans. So, I mean, it has been used. It's called the bonus.
I'll look at that and get the facts on it. But
it's called the bonus.
Is your point that it's never happened, or your point is that it's okay? I'm trying to figure out what your point is.
I don't have a problem with it. If the local police cannot handle it, then who's going to handle it?
Says who?
Says who? When you get somebody shot every day and dead in every week in this city.
President, there's a 10th Amendment, Kevin.
I'm familiar with it.
Go back and look at the 10th. Yeah. But the president, this judge in California who recently issued an opinion about some of this, said, and I think it's really to the point, that the president is trying to create a national police force to which he is the head of.
Well, I don't believe. Do anybody believe that?
Yeah, I believe that totally.
We say the most stupid thing politically.
That ain't stupid. That's exactly what's happening here.
I don't think the president wants
because he can't control local police. There's no authority for him to control Chicago police. What he can do is control
the Chicago police. Can't control Chicago.
But that's not the function of the army. It's not the function of the National Guard.
I hear. But when nothing else is there to do it, 53 people shot and 7 killed on one weekend.
That's not
the police are not handling
a local city.
His role is to look out after every citizen of the United States. That's his role. So if they can't do it,
no, it's not.
Who needs to do it? I mean, really, if the local police can't handle it, who's to handle it?
Handling it is probably a matter of opinion as to what it is. But again, if you want to do something about that, that's not what we do in America, okay? And we're not going to turn this place into North Korea or China
Well, I think it
or
already
Russia or
is
any
in
place
some
like
places.
that
Yeah, some places.
because a petty president wants to get back at his perceived political enemies under the shroud of using crime as an excuse.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay?
do believe you can
Somebody
add some of
wants
them. I do believe you can add some of them 56 people who died. I mean, who got shot, and the 70 people who died weekend before last in Chicago, and it goes on. And even in Washington D.C., in a scope of 3 months, 496 people shot in Washington
let's
D.C.
deal with the guns. Let's stop the guns.
It takes
And let's see if
an
those
amendment.
people will be dead. Let's see if there was some reasonable gun control about that. Let's see if those supposed to be dead through slingshots, rocks, or broomstick handles or
Listen,
baseball bats.
I will not argue with you that I believe we need some sort of gun supervision, something. But
Yeah.
but how do you do that? How do you do that without putting people in danger when somebody comes trying to break into their home, break into their car? How do you do that without impeding their right to protect themselves?
Well, you have a natural right to. I mean, you've got statutory natural rights to protect yourself. I'll say this, Kevin. I think it's a lot trickier, okay, to do that because the way you phrase the question or the issue, it is, and I don't know what the statistics are on home invasions. I don't know what the statistics are on home invasions when people are at home. So much so they would need to do that.
Well,
Okay,
Kennesaw,
I
Georgia,
don't know the fact that
wait a minute,
I don't
Kennesaw,
know the fact that
Georgia,
we've got a gun carrying society right now and how much that actually deters it at this point.
well, in Kennesaw, Georgia, the law in that city is that you have a gun in your house, and guess what? They don't have much people breaking in.
Where's this?
Kennesaw, Georgia.
There's a local ordinance. It
Local
mandates that or
ordinance.
something.
It's law. You must have a gun in your house.
I don't know they can do that. They
Well,
can get by
I mean,
that.
I'd imagine they're gonna put anybody in jail, but that crime rate has gone down. So,
Well, look, I don't say. I think, and again, I'd have to look at it to see what the FBI and what local police are saying the statistics are of what the crimes are, home invasion. But I think we're talking about right now are just your people getting out of control and using gun violence as a way to settle their disputes, more so than home invasions. Okay, I think we got far more conflict with that than we have home invasions. We can look at the numbers and see, but at least my knee jerk reaction is that it's happening more so there. I think with most people who break into a house, they don't want the burglar doesn't want to fight. The burglar wants to go through your business. So the burglar's gonna scope you out, wait till you leave, and go in. Figure out time when you're not there.
well,
And
that's, I
usually
mean,
they
right,
run up against what they run.
that only does you good if you happen to be at home, and I don't have a problem with that. But
Sure.
I understand that. But again, I think though the hyperbole that you guys put out about he wants to have a national police force, I think that's insulting to the president. I do.
That's what he's
I
doing.
think that he wants the people to be safe, which is what you should want, what I should want, what everybody in this country wants. I just think you guys are hyperbolists in that and full of crapola.
Because of course everybody wants to be safe. Nobody wants to be a crime victim. Nobody wants to be crime. I mean, you have to be insane to want that.
So,
Anybody,
but
99.9 repeating percent of the people want that, including the criminals. Okay, everybody wants to feel safe and secure. All right, everybody does. So that's you can dispense with that. My thing is the manner in which we're going about it. Again, I don't question the president and presidential authority for its sake, other than that I think it has its limits. Okay. I don't think it's absolute. I don't think it's as broad. And presidents over the history of this country have tried from time to time to push that sort of thing. Okay. I think we're seeing some unprecedented things at this point in time. And I think we're seeing executive overreach in this time. Some stuff is happening. I'm like, okay, well, it's happening. And my dad told me a long time ago, one of the things I listened to a lot of things he said, but one of the things that he repeated to me more often was, he said, don't ever set a precedent you don't want nobody else to follow. Okay.
Well,
and hold on. What conservatives need to understand is this. Be real clear about this, particularly people like the initials of Donald Lowry who keep, saying, yeah, I'm a racist, I'm hating bigotry, whatever's on the right side of the screen. I guess I'm on the right. Maybe it's you, Kevin. I don't know. Because it depends on what side of the screen you're looking at. But at some point, your guy is not going to be in the Oval Office. Okay? He's going to be somebody else's guy. And those freedoms and that executive authority that the Supreme Court has granted, that person's going to use that too. And may do exactly what this current president is doing and may do more. Okay? And those that put it where people can get it, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Okay? He's going to do that. So you can get ready. Somebody someplace is writing all of this down. Okay? And the minute it changes over, somebody's going to come in and say, he did it, I can't. I'll take the Justice Department, put my cronies in charge, as unqualified as they are.
But everybody's done that. Everybody's done that.
Okay.
Obama did it. I don't know if Obama did.
The first thing you throw out is when you say everybody. You say everybody does. No, everybody has not done that.
Well, I think
people may put their. I'm not saying people have not put their political cronies in. It's the matter in which this thing is happening. And I'm gonna go back to your point earlier was made. It's not. I don't care if you put a qualified scientist as the head of CDC. You should. But Donald Trump's test is loyalty first. Loyalty first.
Well, there's a lot to be said about loyalty, though. There's a lot to be said about. But I do want them to be. There is. I do want them to be qualified.
Give us some competence.
And he's the only guy.
So we have some faith in what we're doing. So
he's the only man in the cabinet.
Right. Putting out crazy stuff.
Right. He's the only man in the cabinet. Kennedy is the only man in the cabinet that I do scratch my head. Why is he head of the CDC? Because he had these opinions about chlorine. Not chlorine, whatever that's right. Fluoride. These opinions about all this stuff, but I never heard him give me any scientific evidence that and maybe he has some. That's the only one though he used that I just kind of like scratch my head on that one. Because he doesn't have a medical degree.
Those kids who don't get dental care, fluoride in the water is the closest thing. People, not kids, but people too. That's a preventative measure. His theories on vaccinations and the causes and to not Down syndrome, but other autism. Things that have been disproven by the scientific community.
Right. Well, and
he's pushing this stuff out there, and people are buying it. People,
they are. I think that that one confuses me. Now, Mr. White, Pete Hegseth has done something that very few people have done. He has gone to the battlefield. He has kicked on doors, put his life in harm's way. Yeah, if my son's got to go to war, if my boy that's in the military right now has got to go someplace, I want him to be led by somebody who's been there, done that, and give him a better chance to come back home. So people who've never been in the military, never been in the hot zone, hot LZ, listen, he did things I haven't done. So I'm good with it. Yeah, don't bother me at all. Who better understands war than a man who's been there?
Kevin, I'm going to say this. Every soldier, this, every soldier that need to be a general can't be one.
Well, that's every soldier. Right. It can't be a general. That's true.
Can't be one. Doesn't need to be one. And Hegseth does not need to be head of the Defense Department.
So why doesn't he need to be? Give me a reason. Ain't because he don't have experience in war. He does.
Experience of running any kind of department like that.
He has an experience of
no administrator. No, what's this? It's the Pentagon. That ain't that.
And he was. Well, see, that's politics. You think about the politics of it, but the guy has experience in war. Okay, and so
that doesn't make you. What's this?
And president.
That doesn't. Donald Rumsfeld knows more about the Defense Department than Pete Hegseth does. All right, Rumsfeld knows more than that. Lots of people who've been in the administrative role of being the head of the Defense Department know more than he does.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, again, I don't have. If my son
being simply just being drunk on the job and putting stuff out on regular chat forums that anybody can intercept, it's bad decisions.
Well, I'm just going to have. Let me grab this phone call. I'm just going to have to see. Again, I'll take a guy who's been there over a guy who hasn't.
Look, dudes who've been there, Kevin.
Who's it? Who's this?
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
You talk about qualification,
Yes.
being out for the job,
Mm-hmm.
and you have generals that have been fighting in battle, and just like putting a buck private, you over somebody that is experienced, and you talk about you trying to bring up the fact you have to be qualified. Do you really think he's qualified?
Well,
Even though he went to one, listen to one thing. He went to battle. How often?
wait a minute.
When he
How many
went out
times you been there?
No, I'm trying to make some sense of what your logic is
Oh,
behind
okay.
this.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not questioning my ability because see, I was in battle 25 years and 9 months, 20 years.
Well, school has become a battleground. That's true.
That was my profession. That was
Yeah.
my profession.
Yes.
So I can answer for my profession that I endured and succeeded in. I'm talking about your profession now. You being a buck private, whatever your rank is, you mean to tell me you didn't think twice? You didn't even question that they would put that person over generals and intellect?
Our Constitution allows.
Don't give me that.
Well,
Don't give me that crap.
I mean, the president doesn't have to have any military experience, but I would hope that he gets somebody there that does.
But my point is, then he goes there and shares secrets of the military. I even have better sense than that. I'm an ex-military wife.
Who tells secrets of the military?
He did. The mistake that he made had the man on conference call.
That
was
when okay, so I'm lost. You lost me. I didn't hear anything about this. I mean, you said
when he first went in, Kevin, he included the reporter on conference call, man.
Oh well, that was kind of crazy, but
don't do that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of. But again, he was learning. Listen, he was learning.
He went a step further and did something else stupid after that. Please, Jesus, help me, Stephen. Not Steve. I'm calling you your brother, Mr. Reed. Donald Trump only picked Mr. Kennedy because of the Kennedy name, and some people still cling to that family, and they vote that way regardless of whatever belief he has. And he said it himself out of his mouth, it's the Kennedy name. That was all it was about. He didn't care how dumb or smart he was.
Well, I'm afraid I may have to. I'm afraid I may have to agree on that one because
I know that he said it.
I don't quite understand.
God said it.
Yeah. I appreciate because I really can't figure out why he is head of the CDC. I just can't figure that one out at all.
I mean, when I say it makes no sense whatsoever. That place is in chaos. I had friends who work for the CDC, PhDs and other folks.
Yeah.
And it's just chaotic there because they are being forced to put forth stuff that has no scientific basis, or things that have, or pull back on things that have scientific benefit in lieu of some of his harebrained ideas. And that's no way, and that's no way to run, the CDC. I mean, the American people have to have confidence in what's going on, identifying infectious diseases, other things, and the research that goes into this stuff. You gotta have confidence in that.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm not qualified to run the CDC. But
neither am I. If somebody offered me the job, they could offer me the job, and I would turn it down. Like, I'm not qualified to do that.
Yeah.
Joe, we want to put you in charge of Space Force in Huntsville. We'll pay you $500,000, $1 million to go up there. You go, I'm like, yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. We love the money. Don't get me wrong. But I've got no business up there. Okay, I was a finance major.
But I'm still going to stick with Hegseth. I am. I think he.
Of course.
If my son's got to go to war, then I want to make sure that the guy who's running it been there too. Okay, I don't have a problem.
Look, and there are a lot of other people who are more decorated,
right?
Who have run wars, who've done that than Pete Hegseth. He was a talking head from Fox News. That's all he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he ain't nothing more than that.
Oh, somebody said he's head of the HHS, not
Hegseth. No, Hegseth is head of the.
I'm talking about the guy you talking about, head of the.
Kennedy, Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
It's HHS, yeah. It's HHS, but I'm saying CDC falls under that.
Oh, okay.
CDC falls under that. So you when I say, now he ain't the head of CDC, but I guess if CDC falls under it, technically he is, because
Well, I guess.
they
Well,
can't really
yeah.
move it out.
Well, I guess he is. Well, man, I gotta go. It's been a wonderful conversation. I'm going to play this over the weekend again.
We'll talk about your wrong views on abortion another time.
Yeah. And listen,
from women.
I'm always glad to share my brilliance on the airways or the subways or whatever way they call it on the internet thing.
I'm always glad to correct you. And people can
listen,
see.
just if for you folks who don't know who this is a Joe Louis Reed. I'm
not Joe Louis. That's my father.
Tell him I said hi.
I will tell him that.
Joe Reed.
His birthday is Saturday. He's
okay.
87.
How is he going to be?
87.
Okay, I'm going to come by and see him.
You should. He asked about you.
He still live the same place?
Same place.
Okay.
Since 1977.
Yeah.
Same neighborhood. He's look. He's still there. No matter how bad this lady says Montgomery is, he's still there.
Yeah. Well, that's
his
good.
friends are still there.
All right. Well, I'm going to
Ain't
come
that
by
bad.
and say happy birthday. What time y'all having the party?
I'm working on that today because he shares a birthday with one of my first cousins, and everybody kind of wants to do something at the same time. So we'll try to get him out in the afternoon. If you come in the afternoon, you got to come by.
Oh, no, is it going to be in his house?
Probably mine.
Well, send me when you find out where it's going to be. Send me a note.
You'll enjoy that.
Yeah, and I'll make sure I show up. And I don't normally show up for sort of place, but when you got the man, you got to show up.
He would love to talk with you.
Yeah,
that'll be good.
I know. Anyway, thanks a lot, Joe Reed, attorney at law. If you need some help with anything you need, give him a call. What's your number over there, Joe?
834-2000.
Wait. Say that.
855 call Joe. How about that, Kevin?
Oh, that's it. Oh, that's good. That's good. Anyway, 855 call Joe, attorney at law. So if you need whatever you need, Joe can handle it. They do a great job, but they got some great lawyers over there too. As a matter of fact, most of them.
Mr. Lauer, we can call instead of putting little one-liners up on the screen. He can call in.
Yeah, and most of them are Democrats over there, but I love them all. They help a brother out when he needs it, so I appreciate it. Anyway, Joe. So what's your middle name, Joe?
Morgan. I'm an M.
That's kind of like a girl name, man.
Well, it's my grandmother's maiden name.
Okay, good. Okay, I just, I was worried about you for a second. I just wanted to make sure.
Morgan is a woman's name, but it's my grandma's maiden name, and I love my grandmother.
All right. Don't forget to send me that note. I'll make sure I run through there and say hi to your dad.
I will.
All right. Appreciate it. Anyway, well, I guess my time is just about up here. Interesting. Keep allowing people with mental illnesses, whether a schizophrenic or not. Well, you have a license. I'm with you on the gun thing. We just don't have a way of constitutionally bypassing the right to bear arms. We just don't have a way to do that. I mean, when the Constitution said you have a right to bear arms, I guess you do. But we certainly but it certainly don't say you have a right to bear the ammunition. So maybe we can make the ammunition so expensive that you can only buy some every once in a blue moon, and you're only going to use it when you need it. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do, because it doesn't say you got a right to have ammunition. It just says you have a right to bear arms. It does. So I think there's a way to do that some kind of way, but I'm not smart enough. So I'll let these guys that are smart enough figure that out. Gotta go. Great conversation this morning. Appreciate you. And I still like, what's his name? I still like Mr. Kirk. And I'm sad for his passing. I hope they catch that SOB today. Anyway, we'll see. And don't forget, it is not falling down that gives you the strength. It's getting up every time you do. See you next week. I won't be here tomorrow. Friday, my day off. Bye. But I'll replay this. Bye.
With such sweet